What harmful things are being taught to children? Ignore bullies and they'll leave you alone. Apostrophe. When you do that, one of two things are likely to happen. Either they'll mess with you more, or they'll move to someone else and bully them. If you stand up to bullies, they back down. The earlier in life you put these people in their place, the less likely they'll develop their bad behavior as a lifelong practice. Going too far on the find your dream job and it'll never feel like work stuff really messed me up when I wasn't excited about uni assignments and thought I had to change degrees. Teaching kids not to question things just because someone is older or allegedly wiser is one of the most frustrating things that I see on a daily basis. How is a child supposed to ever develop any individual and nuanced ideas if they can't think for themselves? Being wrong is bad. That's why many people don't change their mind when they were given trustable sources. They don't want to be wrong. Being discouraged to speak up about illnesses because it makes them weird something's wrong with them. They talk about like, you need therapy, which isn't a bad concept and you probably do need it, but they picture it in such a bad light. No is a bad word. It's a strong word, but not a bad one. I could never tell an adult no growing up because it was a rude word. If he's mean to you, he likes you. It just teaches little girls, mostly girls, to expect violence from people who love them. Nobody cares about children/teens issues. Well, it's only going to get worse from here. You think school is hard? Have you ever paid a ducking bill? You're just a kid. You can't feel this way. It breeds an emotional disconnect from parents and their kids, and makes kids feel alone in their emotional struggles. That nobody cares, because they're not adults and they don't have adult problems. Basically all those shit social media influencers that teach young people that it's all about money and brand names. This is why we have a whole generation that wants to be Twitch streamers and YouTube stars. Children do learn about sex at a young age. It just isn't usually in a productive way. I know I did. My own experience. Questions like this are why I believe in being infinitely clear with my kids. You are going to hear total crap from other kids. If you hear something you don't understand, come talk to me. You can ask me anything and expect a decent answer. And I would give examples of the total crap I had heard as a kid, most of which would result in pregnancy. Son, age 6. Daughter, age 7. Riding home from school, daughter says Tiffany said she had sex with my brother, which left me a grand total of 3 minutes to gather my wits before we got home. Okay. Do you guys know what sex is? Blank looks. Sex is when you take off all of your clothes and rub privates together. You can make babies that way. Looks of shock and disgust. Do you think your brother had sex with Tiffany? No. I think she was using a really bad way of trying to say she likes him. And maybe she watches the wrong TV shows where, if people like each other they always have sex. Were my kids really ready for a sex talk? No. Not really. They didn't care. Did we really need to have one about then? Yep. My job as a parent is to be there, to put things that come up in context for them. Not run around after them deciding what and when they need to know things. Kids are starting social media so early these days. And I think that's very dangerous because it puts a lot of pressure on the kid to attribute their worth to their social media success. I also think parents are way too open with their social media when it comes to their kids. And it's totally a violation of the child's privacy, of which some parents will never admit. Teaching them that it's not okay to fail. Some people need a little more time than others. It's okay to not get something now. Kids should be given more time to process things. Imagine having a poor grade because of a low score from the beginning of the year. How can we show children that it's not pass or fail? It's try and improve. To repress their emotions, it will only cause them to bottle them up and accumulate them to the point of exploding in an instant. I watched a sad video of a child from a third world country getting his foot scraped for chiggers. The man holding the camera, who I assume was the boy's father, kept saying to him it's wrong for a man to cry. Silent tears. It also might have been to keep the kid from screaming in the doctor's ear, but still, he was like 8. I think what we are not taught is more harmful. For example, the fact that we never learn, at least in my country, how to fact check things. No back talk. Many adults use it as you're not allowed to challenge what I have to say. Makes sense if it's a cranky toddler being negative for negativity's sake. But suddenly older children can't question things or raise valid points of their own. Grew up with a parent who was a lawyer. I was always allowed to argue my point. There were many times where she still won because she was the parent in the situation. But she would always justify why, and I could always make my case. And sometimes I won too. My husband was raised to react when mom and dad say jump, you say how high. His parents still say jump and are now pissed that my husband is a grown ass man and has his own family and ideas and needs, and they can't reconcile it. All toddlers are mini lawyers anyway. They'll cross-examine and challenge every single rule you set as a parent. That complaining is the same as not being grateful. Can't count the number of times growing up when adults basically told me to shut up whenever I was complaining about something, and that I should be grateful that I was born where I was. Like sure, I'm glad I wasn't born into some starving African family, but that doesn't mean everything is perfect over here, and that we shouldn't try to improve things here as well. You do not have to play with everyone. There is a total lack of social accountability. If Laura is always cheating at tag, it's okay to not let her play. If little Billy throws sand in the sandbox, little Timmy does not have to play with him. Laura and Billy need to learn how to play appropriately. You show me respect first, because I'm an adult and have authority, then I choose whether I should show you respect no other way. Making children hug or kiss someone, usually a relative, that they are uncomfortable with is not good. The child may just be grumpy and or not wanting to show affection, or their warning bell sensors could be going off and they do not know how to communicate that. Plus forcing them to hug/kiss sends mixed messages about personal/physical boundaries and affection itself. Happened to my son in middle school. A kid sucker punched my son. My son then fought back and pinned the kid against the wall. He has long arms and punched him a few times. The school called me and my wife and told us our son was suspended. We went to the school and they said, even though multiple witnesses as well as the kid said he threw the first punch, that the school had a zero tolerance policy, so our son would be suspended. We asked what the school believed our son should have done, and they said he should just walk away. We told them that he would not be receiving any punishment at home, and that the policy was ducked up. She's younger than you. Just let it go. Can't you be more compassionate? You're the older one here in this situation. She's a little child. She doesn't know any better. Absolutely hate this information that was drilled into me since I was a kid. Edit. I think children under the age of 3 are an exception to this though. I was referring to the 5 to 12-year-olds who could get away with stuff because they were younger. I don't give a duck that she's 6 and I'm 6.5. She pissed in my fucking Lego bin. Edit for clarity. The kid who pissed in my Legos was the kiddo of my stepmother's coworker. Political views. At ages that children are really too young to understand them, they just spout off their parents' thoughts. No telling tales or snitching like how many kids are abused or bullied and won't come forward because of this. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.